we're going to set tray positions on the matrix capper. It's pretty much like the filler. If you do have a filler and capper, make sure you do the filler first because the capper can cause damage if you do it wrong. First thing you're going to want to do is turn off any air pressure to your matrix capper. So go ahead and go to the auto oiler and air dryer, and then you have this knob here. Turn it all the way to the left and make sure that dial on the back reads 0. Then what you're going to want to do is we're going to want to basically set it up just like we do the matrix filler. So I'm going to go to my control panel here. I'm going to type a feed rate of 5,000. If you're new to this, you could do like a feed rate of 500. I'm going to go ahead and do a distance of 100. What I'm going to do is click this Y- button. Y- will bring that tray to me. And so I'm going to basically push that Y- 2 times. And that'll bring it out pretty far. And then I'm going to go ahead and click this X- button 1 time. And then what that's going to do is X- will actually bring the chuck to the left. X+ brings it to the right. If you hit your limit switch up there or down there, it'll reset the system. Or if you actually go too far and you stall out your motor, rehome the machine and do it again. For the trays, make sure that your trays always have this notch in the back right corner if you're looking at the machine. Make sure your tray is in position. Now though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that distance from 100 to 10. And what that's going to do is give me a little bit more finer tuned increments here. I'm going to go ahead and use those X and Y buttons to kind of get this a little bit closer to the bottle. And then now that I'm kind of close to the bottle, I need to kind of bring down my chuck a little bit. So I'm going to go to my control panel and actually use this XZ- button. The Z- will bring down that chuck. And again, you don't want to go too far and crush something. So right there is pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is if I go any more, I'm going to probably overshoot or undershoot. So I'm going to drop my distance again to 1 here, which is basically 1 millimeter. Then I'm going to go ahead and use the X and Y's and get it a little bit closer here. And we basically want this cap to be center on this chuck. And when you're doing this, make sure your cap's all the way on the bottle and tight, so that way you know exactly when it's going to stop. So just make sure that cap's on there real tight. And then what you want to do is kind of view from here, see if you're center, which I'm pretty center. I'm going to probably go something like that. Check from this angle, which is pretty good. I'll check from this angle, I'm pretty good. So I like that. And then this tray on the filler, and whenever we send them, we'll tell you what we have programmed them to. So I'm going to use start location 1 or G54. So we want to go down to this bold configure start location. Go ahead and click on it, and I want G54. I'm going to go ahead and say set. Now whenever you first start this up, just to refresh here again, you want to make sure your air's off and your machine is homed before you start finding your tray positions. So air off, make sure your machine's homed. And what I'm going to do now is actually home it again. Usually on the fillers you're done setting up your trays, but we also now need to set up our Z location of how far down we want that chuck to go. So I'm going to go ahead and click home here. And we'll let the machine home itself. Once this is homed, what we're going to do is set a start location. So right there we just configured it. But what I'm going to do is go down to set start location. And I'm going to clear this out by hitting that clear button. Use the drop down here and use G54 and go ahead and click set. What that did is tell the computer to use the start location we just configured. And this set start location will save with any time you save a program. So it knows to go to set location location G54. So I went ahead and set that. Then I'm going to go to the Send G-Code button. I'm going to click on its drop down, and it's going to have something in there that says G00, X0, Y0. What that's going to do after I click this Set Start Location is it's going to bring me to the position we just configured, which should be right over that bottle. If it's not, and something went crazy, you then did not configure that start location, so redo that. So now what we need to do is we need to see what the distance is from here to the very end of the bottle. So go ahead and make sure your lid's tight on there, everything's in position, everything's nice and straight. And I'm going to go to my distance here, and I'm going to put a distance of 10 to bring our chuck down a little bit, and I'm going to use this Z- button. And we want to keep track of how far down we're going. So I'm going to hit the Z- once. So that's 10. Hit it again. 20. Again. 30. Again. 40. Again. 50. Now that I'm getting close, I'm going to drop this to 1 and go down some more. Again, make sure your air is off. Make sure you home the machine before you started doing any of this. I'm going to go ahead now. I'm at 50. I'm going to go down some more. And basically, I'm going to watch this gap up here. And when that slop in this gets all the way taken up, because that's what activates the chuck, and I start putting some pressure on the tray, that's when I want to stop. I don't want to go any more, any less. So I'm at 51, I think, 52, 53, 54, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, so 61, 62, 63, 64, 65. So I'm at 65, and you can start to see the gaps getting taken away here a little bit. 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, and you can see the tray actually get some pressure on there. I'm going to hit Z plus here, and you'll see the tray's going to go up a little bit, and I'll make it go back down. So you want just a little bit of pressure on there. You don't want too much to do damage. So I'm going to call that 70 is good. So I'm just going to hit a reset on my control panel and home. Now, so unlike the filler, everything's kind of the same, but you have a bottle count. So bottle count, I'm going to just leave it 50, even though we have whatever here, I want to use the whole tray. If you put a bottle count of 6, it'll just do 6 bottles and stop. That's kind of what that's geared for. Now this cap down distance here, right now on another program it's 62, but on this bottle it's 60, so I'm going to change that to a 60. Cap down speed, I like it to run a little slower. This is how fast that chuck's going to go down. I have it at 30. Cap down delay, this is how long that chuck's going to sit on the bottle and try to cap. 0.5 is really good for that. Travel feed rate 5,000, and then row and column distance, you could basically run what you do on your fillers, because it's going to be pretty much the exact same. You could fine tune it a little bit if you need to. And now what I'm going to do is also make sure that my set start location is in there at G54. I'm going to go ahead and save this. Now I'm going to save this as I think this is a 10 ml bottle. And G54, I'm going to go ahead and click save. Excuse me. And everything's ready. And you could do a dry run before you actually turn your air back on. After you homed it, you could go ahead and click cycle start and just make sure everything worked good. Again, you don't really want to cause damage. So actually that looked a little shy from what we went by. So what I'm going to do is reset this, home it. I'm actually going to put this to 62 on the cap down distance, just because my gap wasn't going up. There wasn't any pressure on the tray there. And again, you only do this once. After you get everything fine-tuned and in, you just load that program and go. So we'll see if this gets a little better, and I'll keep fine-tuning it for this customer, but that is pretty much how you set bottle tray positions. Let me go ahead and just click cycle start, And you'll see this chuck go down a little bit more. And I watched this gap, so it didn't even gap. So my number was off a little bit. So actually here, let's, I just want to, we'll put it to 65. This is actually a real good example of how else to find it. So, and this is all in millimeters, so we just jumped 3 millimeters, which hopefully will start showing this guy go up like as if it was activating if there was air. But I'm pretty sure this should give you guys the idea of how to find tray positions and set up your machine. We do try to set them up for you the best we can with our demo programs here. Oh yeah, so you could see that chuck started to go. So I'm going to add another 3 millimeters to it, and we should be good. Watch the gap. Started to go in. So if I add 3 millimeters to that cap down distance, that should be good. Again, you don't want to overshoot that number. You could start breaking stuff. If you have any questions on this or need some help setting yours up, don't hesitate to call. We're definitely here to help you out. Thank you and have a great day.